We had 11 phenomenal global VIP jurors, and I have the pleasure of inviting 6 of them to stage now. Jurors, can I get you to join me on stage? All right, we have Joel Brayton, VP of Development for 6 Sense, Anna Tickton, Head of Content Operations for Samsung VR, Chris Sevenson, Head of Impact Programs for HTC Vive, Mark Lapato, Head of Business Development for Diversion Cinema, Salar Shana, CEO and Head of the World XR Forum, and of course the indomitable Rose Troche, filmmaker, icon, and tremendous thinker. So thank you for welcoming them to the stage. Moderating our final panel today that's going deep inside the first annual VIFF Immersed competition is Noah Nelson, founder and publisher of No Proscenium, one of North America's leading sources on immersive theatrical entertainment, news, and thinking, as well as the head of the IDS. I'm going to let him tell you more about himself and dive in, and thank you all so much for being here today and for being a part of this really phenomenal competition where we reviewed work together. And again, the winners of the competition were Gloomy Eyes in animation, episode 1, Everest, the VR movie experience as best in documentary, and in cinematic, drawn from live action subjects, Mr. Buddha. Thank you again for your time today.
All right, there's almost as many of us up here as out there, so we will make this fast and fun. My name is Noah Nelson. I am the founder and publisher of No Proscenium, which I like to think of as a little blog that tracks everything it can. My personal mission is to catalog, understand, that's critical, and build the audience for immersive art and entertainment, be it digital, physical, or that fascinating place where the two meet. NoPro is my main publication. We also have a Facebook group called Everything Immersive, so modest, that has a few thousand people in it who are absolutely hungry for all kinds of experiences, good place to find audiences. And the Immersive Design Summit is something I've done for the past couple of years, and it's getting a soft reboot in 2020. And that's where we bring folks from theater, escape rooms, theme parks, virtual and mixed reality, all under the same roof to sort of explore the parts of our crafts that talk to each other. We got the full rundown on the jury, but I want everyone to just ID themselves. And I originally had a piece of paper and a thing up there, but we called an audible. So we'll start down at the far end, and everyone can kind of let everyone know who they are.
Sure. Hello, everyone. So I am Salar Shana, running the World XR Forum out of Crans-Montana, Switzerland, and also content producer with Dirty Bacon in Geneva.
Live. Whoa. I'm Anna Tickton. I run content operations for Samsung VR.
I'm Rose Troche. I wasn't ready, so and I'm a content creator.
I'm Mark Lapato. I'm co-founder and head of business and operations development at Diversion Cinema in Paris.
I'm Chris Severson. I do content partnerships on Viveport and also run the VR for Impact initiative.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so I'm Joel Breton, and I'm currently president of 6 Sense Studios. We work on immersive content in the healthcare, training, and entertainment LBE spaces. So really pleased to be here today.
All right. Everyone here was a member of the jury, as we've established a couple of times. And what always fascinates me when it comes from either an award or a programming standpoint is, what is the thing that gets someone to stop and take notice and give a piece of work a chance? Whether that's give a piece of work a chance at an award, or maybe funding, or for someone to become an evangelist for that work or that creator. I'm always reminded that radio music directors used to listen to things on CDs, and they had these special CD decks that had they weren't that special, but they had a 10-second button on them. So you drop the CD in and you hit 10 seconds, and it played the first 10 seconds of every song. And if they didn't hear something in that first 10 seconds, they did not bother to play it on the air, just went in the bin, because they had hundreds of CDs every week. as producers, as curators, as members of the jury, you all have faced a lot of content over the years. In a pitch, a prototype, or a finished product, what's one thing, and we're gonna do this lightning round style, what's one thing that's guaranteed to arrest your attention and get you to dig deeper? Joel, why don't we start here?
So I got to actually go around the world for 3 years while I was in charge of content at VIFF, and that was exactly what my job was, is to look at all these different projects, and there was thousands, over the last couple of years that people are creating. And so just to answer that question, what I was looking for always in that context was immediately just trying to find something that couldn't be done in flat 2D cinema, right, when we're talking about storytelling. So if the story could not be told effectively or as effectively on a flat screen, that's something that got my attention right away. And if I could either figure that out from reading the pitch, that would be great. If the piece was already at prototype or demo stage and I could see it then and I could understand that, that would make me want to dig deeper and see more about that project.
For me, I think characters really draw me in. So, for example, in the juried content, looking at something like Gloomy Eyes, I mean, that character, that little zombie boy, I want to know more about him, what's going to happen. And I'm also really curious how the episodic formula is going to work in that regard. They've got 2 more episodes coming out. And I think earlier, when the person from VIFF was talking about episodic content and trying to build an IP, that's of interest to me right now. But definitely characters and just the visual look of them really immediately captures my attention.
On my side, well, we actually run a VR cinema in Paris. So, and our job is to bring content to the public. So to be honest, I have difficulty to answer your question, because for me, the most important thing is when I take out my headset, I ask myself, did I have a good time? Was it nice? The questions, is this possible to do in 2D? Flat, traditional, however we call it. Did I impersonate someone or not? For me, they are not relevant, and but because I always keep in mind, will the public that come to our cinema, will they have a nice time? Will the story impact them or let them or move them? These are the number of questions that I do ask myself. So I refuse to not look at the whole piece. I really prefer to spend more time and look at the whole piece and ask myself this question at the end of the piece.
For me, I'm just listening to what everyone says, and then gonna make my piece like that next time.
For me, it's been it's original audio is really compelling. There's something incredibly immersive. What's that? I'll text you. But there's something really, there's been something really compelling for me behind certain pieces like Notes on Blindness or Berlin Blitz, or more recently at Tribeca, The Accused. And those all have original voices and soundtracks in them. And they've just been some of the most compelling pieces that I've seen. And it's not that we haven't seen or heard heard these voices on a flat 2-dimensional screen on our TV or on the movie screen. But for whatever reason, they've just been some of the most compelling pieces. And so now I notice that when I see that in there, it's like, ooh, let me get to the bottom of this pitch.
Just to interject, I agree with you on The Accused, because hearing that audio and an immersive experience and just that it being isolated in that way, so powerful.
Who does anyone in the audience know The Accused, a 360 piece that was at Tribeca in this year? Yeah. So 30 more words or less. It's the original audio tapes set to this really incredible graphic design, animation, for the second accused behind Nelson Mandela.
So it's actually, Accused number 2 is the name of the piece, I think.
There
Not
you
The
go.
Accused,
Yeah,
Accused number 2, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I kind of connect with what most people have said, and I would just summarize as emotion for me. Emotion is the most important. Do I feel something, or is this thing doesn't? The reason I jumped into VR is I thought the medium has a tremendous power of giving strong emotions, and I love to feel those. And if I don't feel anything, then there's a problem. And I would say, to make it simple, this is my,
I want to get specific on the pool of nominees, what you as a jury reviewed to lead us to the award. What did that pool, because you got to see all of the material that we're going to get access to over the next week, what did the nominee pool tell you about the state of the art right now? Anyone can jump in on that one.
So yeah, I think the selection was really interesting, and the way they were separated was transversal. So in documentary, you could have things were just 360, or things were room scale and more elaborate. The same like for live action, you had volumetric mixed with 360. So I think that was interesting, the way that these boundaries have now exploded in the way they selected the work. And also the notion of space, I thought was really important in many of the works. Like in documentary, it was really this physical space of the London neighborhood. In the Danish documentary, you had all the architectural space. I mean, space was something which is important in VR, and I think was transversal to many pieces, and that was interesting.
I think for me it was, sorry.
Rose is next. Rose is next.
Just the sheer variety of things was really encouraging, because there's just so many more stories to tell. That was very evident in the selections, even within just the documentary section alone. I mean, so many different things that, like, I had no idea about the estates in London. It was a big revelation for me. So I think there are so many great things that, to explore, and it's we really are at the new frontier, which makes it so exciting.
Rose?
Oh, sorry. Chris said it all.
Oh, wait a minute.
No,
I
I'm
have no
kidding.
other-
Yeah, I think I think it would. I have to just say, like, I agree with both of you. I think that normally I would expect categories that were just like everything has interaction in it. Everything's 360 stereoscopic. With X, Y, and Z. That's new right now. And what I really liked about the pieces that were here is that across the board, they were at different levels. And it was really about the content of the piece. And so I think that the experience of being on the jury was about looking at, the quality of that piece and that story. And that's what was so cool about it to me. And as a maker as well, really, really reassuring.
Yeah, I mean, there was such a sophistication to a plurality of work that's all commercially available. Thank you, Brian. But you're really increasingly seeing this this really nice marriage and dance between technology, storytelling, everyone's skill sets across the spectrum. It really came together in the curation and the pieces that we saw yesterday. So.
Yeah, it's pretty much everybody that's creating content right now in immersive technology is pioneering this, right? We're just barely starting out, a few years into, where we can really have the tools and the software to create amazing stories in immersive platforms. And so for me, seeing the pool today was several of the pieces I've seen previously, so earlier versions, and then it was great to see their final versions, because that's what we were reviewing here, which was great. So that was fantastic to see that, in those cases, sometimes some of those pieces have been in production for more than a year, some of them more than 2 years, and that's a huge journey, which I'm familiar with as well. So it's great to see that, but absolutely pioneering work is on display here. There's no question about that. The volumetrics that we saw in the 100%. It's just incredible. They did a fantastic job with that. And I've done volumetric production myself. I know this is no picnic to create, and they've done some stunning work in that piece. I think also in Common Ground, they did beautiful mixture of the 360 video and the volumetric scenes. Again, I've done that, and I know it's incredibly hard to do, and they made it seem very seamless. And I also appreciated the work that they were doing to sort of project flat screens onto the buildings there, right? So again, that was another beautiful technique. So all of this is pioneering work. People are going to now see this in pieces like this, and it's going to inspire them to think in the topic or the story or the theme that they want to create. It's going to open up a lot more avenues for them and a lot more ways they can tell those stories.
Yeah, I'd like to add on my end, even I completely agree with everything that you said, but one thing that really struck me in the selection are pieces that I knew before, but I saw them again, are The Making of and Mr. Buddha. So it's HCC Productions, and actually I've seen HCC Production, the beginning of them with The Deserted that was presented in Venice 2 years ago by Tsai Ming Liang. And the work that HCC have done, which is bringing traditional cinema directors into 360. The first trial, I would say, with The Deserted was very good, but the production quality was not yet there. With Mr. Buddha and The Making of, the production quality is there. We have a traditional cinema production quality there in 360. And for me, this is great news because we are there. I mean, it is trial. It is still the first pieces that are there with this type of quality, but it's super encouraging. It means that 360 is getting to a cinema level, and this is something that we, as Divergent Cinema, we have a cinema for 3 years, and we've been seeing many different pieces, but they were always either the production quality was there, but the story was not there, or the other way around. And here we have them. For me, these were two pieces that really stand out in that sense.
I want to point out that the tech team has managed to get the current pool up there on the slide. So way to go, everybody. That's amazing because we did call that audible. Something I'm kind of getting here is a sense that we're starting to hear voices emerge, right? Like we're finally pushing past the technical limitations and everyone finding their way around the equipment and making things for the past couple of years. And now artists are starting to find their voices. I want to flip that around into what you're looking to hear, what you're trying to experience. So what stories, either as individuals or as people who represent these communities or represent resources, what stories are you seeing resonate with the communities that you're a part of or within your own practice in the VR right now, beyond the jury pool? Because I think folks here are trying to look, we're trying to figure out how to reach these audiences, right?
Yeah. So I'm seeing a lot I come from the gaming world primarily, so a lot of, that community is really resonating with the kind of sci-fi theme and stories and telling, far off places and taking you to, worlds that you won't ever visit in your lifetime. But I think that's a very, very good use of the medium is, putting you some other place and some other time.
I think it's pretty hard to answer from my end because I don't want to put any boundaries in which stories.
Yeah.
I think basically the infinite is there.
Right.
What we curate at the forum as well has been very widespread. In 2016, we had in one room we had Henry from Oculus, very cute movie about a hedgehog, and next room was the orgy from Michel Reiac with 10 people making love, and so it's quite. We are really open to anything. I think as long as it's good, and we should not put a limit or a boundary right now in which stories, as long as it's well done and it's a value.
Yeah, I'm kind of just wondering, like, what are you seeing people get excited about, right? So, I think I don't want to drive people to the sense of like, oh, only this works. But I know as people are trying to understand what's getting picked up and getting people excited and resonance happening.
I'm just to say from my point of view, and it might not be, and this is a question to those of you who like distribute and things like that, but I always feel like things which are CG, things which are, generated, as opposed to live action, I would love to see the live action space, and that's why it's so cool, right? That it's getting to this place where maybe live action can get in the game. That makes me really excited. I loved your comment about that, because I do still have a love and a penchant for the live action sitch. And for me, it's really like when I see things that I'm like, oh my goodness, they're using 360 like 360, like not like cinema. It is not cinema. When I see someone using it like it is a new medium, then I get really excited and then I copy it.
But I think live action will have a comeback, and it's great that people like Anna are advocating for 360 because one simple reason that 360 went down was technical, and the fact that people are used to have very crisp images, and what you would get in those headsets with the previous resolutions is something soft, not so clear, and with CG you don't have this problem because as long as it's animated, you are less affected by the fact that the resolution is lower. And between the technical quality of the headsets and the playback, plus like Mr. Buddha, you were mentioning, like the craft quality going upper, I think 360 will have a huge comeback from my end.
Yeah, and I wanted to point out there's actually been a technological leap just this last year with some companies in 360, which is phenomenal, and everybody here should be aware of it. And it's what I call 360 plus. We discovered it while we were making Seven Miracles, which is a full feature-length 75-minute 360 film that we made while I was at VIFF Studios. And in part of that production process, we went out to both tell this story of the seven miracles of Jesus from the book of John, but at the same time to push the technology as far as we could to tell that story better than it's ever been told before. And so through that process, we discovered 360 Plus. I won't bore you with the technical details. You can look them up online, but essentially what it allows you to do is if you have a premium headset, a 6 Degree of Freedom headset, you can move around within that 360 film. And that you don't have to do anything special in the production process to make that happen. I personally did not think I would see that happen for maybe a decade from today. And when somebody showed it to me working in my film that we had shot, and I know that they didn't do anything, we didn't do anything special to make it happen on the production side. They put it in the player, so it's a technological advance in the player technology. So once I saw that, and I picked my jaw up off the floor, I was very, very excited and tried to figure out, how did you guys do that? Okay, tell me, what are you doing? And, we figured it out. Pleased to say that Vive Video adapted that technology as well, because pretty much everybody saw it and saw the difference. Essentially what it does is it makes 360 video more comfortable for more people, and that's obviously great, right, for the technology. So what happens in 360, which is a limitation of it, is if you move your head in the headset, the whole world moves with you, right? The world is not fixed. So that's a problem because that's not a natural feeling. So with 360 Plus, if you move your head within that film, the world stays fixed and you move and your perspective shifts. So it is absolutely phenomenal. And it is going to help this industry a lot. So if you don't know about that technology, you're welcome to come ask me more about it. I can make sure that you get a chance to experience it.
Yeah, that just feels like table stakes at this point, right? Like, gotta go to the, did you have,
Yeah, I was just gonna kind of take it old school from opposite of what you're saying and just, looking at the Viveport store and the kind of content that's popular on there. This will surprise you, but one of the most played, downloaded things is still the Blue, which is how old now, and that is basically a tech demo at the time. And also Spider-Man from the first movie. It's a free experience on Viveport. Those are two very different things, but people still love those. And I think what we all forget is that 99% of the population has not seen VR yet. So when they go onto our store, they pull these things that are. The Blue is like, underwater, meditative, and then Spider-Man is just a well-known IP that their kids want to play. So, don't forget that most people have not seen VR, and so you can go back to basics in that way.
So as a home distributor, actually all of us on stage here, I like to say we're ambassadors of this space. So it's our duty to put good quality content out there, whether it's at the festival level or at home or location. But I think, again, representing the home distribution side of things, this longer form, this trend towards longer form content is great. Because once we've gotten folks into headset on a Saturday night or Sunday morning or, God forbid, a Friday night, I've seen it done. It can happen. Oh, I do. Give them something to do and not regret that time in headset. And so that longer form, high quality, great story, whether it is live action or whether it's animation, it's a really good thing to see this uptick in production quality and durations of content, of stories.
I know the bus is coming to take some folks very soon, but I just wonder if anyone had an absolutely burning question for the jury. Down in front.
I was actually just wondering a little bit more about the 360 plus. So you could film it just on a regular 360 camera that's stationary, and it actually adapts the video, and you're able to move in 60 OF.
Yes, within a sphere, right? So it certainly has its limitations. So it's not as good as, say, a volumetric or a full CG scene that you can move at 1-to-1 ratio. But it's let's call it a very good step towards getting room scale out of a 360 video, and I'd say it gives you about 70 to 75% of the perspective shift as you move around, and so it just feels more natural. The other problem with 360, I'll just finish with this, is everybody's eye height is different, and when you're capturing 360 video, you only have one tripod, and that's everybody's eyes. So some people are going to feel uncomfortable, and actually a lot of people are, because it's going to feel too tall, the eye height, or it's going to be too short. So 360 plus gets rid of that, because you're automatically seeing the content from your natural head height. So it absolutely is a game changer for that.
Goldilocks technology. So, anyone else with a hot burning question that absolutely has? All right, that looks like a no. One. Wait, where? Oh, go for it. Yeah. Oh, all the way in the back. That's why the light's in my eyes. I could not see you.
There's a market now. I mean, I think VIFF has funding initiatives. Samsung, I believe, has funding initiatives. Oculus does. So yes, there's a market now. Probably getting those grants is a little bit tricky, but I think that's always the case. But yeah, so I'd say you're more than able to do that today. What'd you say?
Anyone else? Anna?
Can you prototype too? Seriously though, I mean, it's a very different, and I said this earlier today, it's a very different thing reading an immersive project versus actually bringing it to life. There are things that are
Getting it to demo prototype stage, yeah.
Yeah. So I would,
I can say as someone who makes, I would never try to sell something at this point based on a script. Like,
Yeah, and
Better be amazing.
still don't have the right format. You know what I mean? We still don't have the right format for like even 360, just like regular 360. Like the script that says like over here in this area, and have someone be able to follow that. So it's.
And add my 2 cents as a distributor. We have something like about 20 to 30 projects in the pipe. But we didn't sign anything with them at that point, because we want to see prototype first. Exactly, we want to see where the piece is going, because what's on the paper, as you were saying, Anna, it's definitely, it can be very different from what you will get in the headset. And the more the prototype level advance, the more certain we can be to and agree to sign something.
All right. But we've got 5 minutes. Oh, cool. We've got 5 minutes. Then I'm going to go back. Oh, we don't have 5 minutes. All right. So one person tell me I do, one person tell me I don't. So we're just going to call it there. Everyone, thank you for sticking around. Thank the jury for coming through. Take the time, check out the work. It's all worth it. All right.